Hello ladies and gentlemen, this is PJ, and today I'm doing the third and final part of my how to make a Steve character in Blender tutorial. So in the last episode we learned how to rig the character with armatures, and so if you haven't seen that, then I will put a video box with a link right here where my mouse is. So just click that annotation and that'll take you to the previous video so that you can learn how to make your rig do this, which is looking quite nice. So anyway, this episode is going to be face rigging, and we are going to make the eyeballs, pupils go everywhere, and a mouth with teeth and whatnot, and eyebrows. So yeah, should be interesting. And one thing you might notice about this, you might have noticed before actually, but when I was fixing the skin I forgot to shade one pixel, so just kind of odd. But that doesn't matter. So the first thing that you're going to want to do, or what I like to do, is select the armature and then go into the object data and then just declick X-ray just so that it's out of the way when we're doing the face, so that we don't have to look at it the whole time. So let's select the actual mesh for the Steve character and then go into edit mode, and what you want to do is select all the parts of his face in face select. So that's 3 sides, 4 sides, 5 sides, and the bottom. And one good way to make sure that you've selected all the sides of his face is move around like this. Just move them around, just so that you can tell. Make sure that you've got them all right. Because sometimes if you just do it this way, then you get the bottom. I didn't that time, but usually it does that. And it's annoying. So now what you need to do is press W while still in edit mode, and then the first thing on the menu says subdivide. So you want to go ahead and click that, and we're going to get it so that it subdivides it into these pixels. So let's do it again. Not quite, so again. And now we can see that one of these pixels is equal to a grid square, which is equal to a pixel, so we can proportion everything perfectly. Now what you want to do is right click on the eyes while holding shift so that you select where the eyes are, and just select the eyes and then go into side view and press Z. And now what you need to do is press E to extrude, and then you can just left click anywhere on the screen and then hold control and bring it back however far you want it to be back. And I say this because different people like different styles. I don't like it to be back this far, and by this far I mean that's halfway back. Usually I put it like 1 to 3 back, and even that's kind of stretching it. So it's mainly personal preference, how far back you want the eyes to extrude. I'm just gonna set it to 2 for now, but you can set it to whatever you feel looks the best. It's the great part about this. So now when you have those extruded by pressing E and dragging it back, you need to select all the other parts of his eyeball so that we can change the color. So just hold shift and select the inside parts of his eyes. I don't know what to call that on the human body. I don't think there's a name for it. So just select those, and now in this materials tab, if we see here, we have the material, which will be the Steve skin. Right here where it has the plus, it says add new material slot, so just add one of those and then press new, add new material. And diffuse is the color, and we want to make the color white so that it will make the part of his eyes white. And it's not going to look white, but trust me, when we render it out, it'll be white. And just to show you, I'll go out of edit mode, go into camera view, and just zoom up on his face a bit, and render that out. And as you can clearly see, his eyes are not white. Sorry, I forgot to mention a step. Go back in to the mesh, press tab, and it should still have everything selected. What you need to do is, under this materials, with your eyes selected, you have to press assign, and then that will make everything white. Just like that. It looks extremely creepy, but it's really good, trust me. Okay, so hopefully you didn't get confused by that. Sorry about that, really sorry. So again, just select the eyes, make a new white material, and then still with the eyes selected, press assign, and that'll make the parts that you have selected white. Okay, so now we can do the mouth. I do it the pixel that's underneath the blue part of his eye, and then go over to the other blue part of his eye because I think that that's normal looking, I guess. I don't know, I just think it'd look kind of weird like that. Whee. Okay, so once you have those selected, you do the same thing. You go into side view, press E, click anywhere, and then drag it back however far you want it. You can do this thing where you drag it, like, say, past halfway, and that'll give him, like, an actual mouth, and you can have, like, the teeth, like the molars coming back and everything. But for this episode, I'm just going to do straight flat teeth so that it's not too complicated. Sorry, I selected all of them instead of just these 4. So select the 4, side view, extrude, and I'm going to do it halfway past the first pixel. And so with this still selected, you can go ahead and select the rest of the mouth, like so. And you're going to want to make this part a new material in the materials tab. And make this black, or what you can also do is go into this, get a red color, and then bring it down so that it's dark red. Because I guess the inside of our mouths are technically dark red. So yeah, that's something you can do, but I'm just going to make it black. So once you have that all selected, press assign. And be sure to keep saving because you don't want to lose anything. And now if we look, inside of his mouth is black. And now he looks even more creepy. So what we need to do now, this will do this for us. If we want him to be able to close his mouth, this is going to happen. And we don't want that to happen. So what we need to do is go into top view, and then press Z so that we can see through. T for toolbox. And then under the add section, go to loop, cut, and slide. And then put a cut right, actually it's not best to go into top view, just go into any view, and then put a cut, if you can, right there. You want to put a cut right in the middle of his of this part that we made that's the mouth. Sorry if I'm being really confusing, but I don't know how else to explain it. So that there's a cut right in there. And then just make it however fat you want the lips to be. I'm going to have it at 2 pixels. And so that it won't look too strange or anything. So now what you need to do is select, go into face mode, because if you could do a loop, cut, and slide, it'll put you into edge select. So now select the top of, or no, you have to select them individually. Select the top and then just press E and then click anywhere. And what this will do is it'll enable us to be able to go like this. And this is a lot better than this, because if we have this, we can't make him do like smiles without it looking kind of weird. We can give him boxy smiles if we have this. So go along and press E for every one of them and just click down so that we can use it like that. Just finish up here. So now that if we select all these, we get a mouth just like that, which is pretty awesome. So you're gonna be wondering, well, you don't want to select him every time and then drag him up, but we'll get into that later. So now that we have that all done, I guess we can make some pupils. So while still in edit mode, press Shift A and then just add a cube in, and then scale it down and make sure that it's selected to the grid so that it's going to look correct and everything. And put it where the eyeball is, scale it down, make sure it's still selected all the time, and go into side view, drag it up. I usually, if I have it at 2 pixels, I like to do it 1 pixel just because that seems to be normal looking-ish. And now what you can do is make this any size that you want, whatever you feel looks the best. I'm not sure, that looks about good to me. So that's in the half pixels. I don't really like it when it's doing that. Anyway, so that looks about good. And now I like to have my pupils black, but you can have them any color. Just add a new color and then find whatever color you want it to be. But for now, I'm just gonna make my pupils I'm just gonna make my pupils black. So you can just go to this other material and then press assign while the pupil is still selected. And now all you have to do is take note of where this is. It's in the middle of the eyeball. So then with the pupil selected, press Shift D and then drag it over to the same spot. and you have two identical pupils. So now if we render that out, we have really awkward and strange looking pupils. But you can make them however you want. I think I'm going to make mine a bit bigger and center them differently. I'm just going to go like this. Oh crap. Something like that. I don't know if that's going to make it look any better. Okay, so that's a little bit better. So just mess around with those, get them however you like them, and yeah. So now we can do some eyebrows. So just press Shift A and add another cube again, and then scale that down, and bring it up, selecting it to the grid so that it fits. And I like to have pretty bushy eyebrows. I see people with really fine skinny eyebrows, but again, it's all personal preference. And I usually have them 1 block out and 2 blocks above the eye, just like that. And I'm gonna make mine a little bit thinner. It's all personal preference. So that should be good. And now what you do is just select the face of this and extend it. I usually have it 1 out on both sides of the eye, like that, because I like the look of that. And so then select the whole eyebrow and add a new material, and we want the material to be brown, same color as the hair. So get a new material and click the diffuse, and then this little ink grabber, I don't know what that's called, I forget, sample, whatever. You take that and then select the shade of brown that you want from his hair, and I'll do that. And remember to press assign with the eyebrow selected so that it assigns that to that, and then copy it and paste it over here, just like that, and save it and render it out to see. Okay, so he's looking pretty good. Now we can add in another mesh, another cube, and this will be the teeth. This will be teeth. So drag it up and like so, scale it to however you like it. I usually like to have the teeth at right there, halfway through this pixel underneath the eye, and then dragged out to halfway the pixel past where the mouth is at. So you can do that, or you can do whatever you want. It doesn't matter. And select your tooth. I guess it's just one tooth, isn't it? Yeah. And then make it whatever color you want. I'm gonna go with white because I'm hoping that that's the color most people's teeth are. Just assuming. And again, make sure that it's visible in the mouth, but you don't want it right up against the face, or else you can see already it'll be all like that, and we don't want that. So just do it 1 pixel back, and that will be good. Yes, that will be good. And so copy that, and whoops, and drag it down to the same spot on this guy. So now it's starting to come together. If we render that out, he has some beautiful pearly whites. Okay, so usually they don't stand there. Usually people don't sit there with their mouths open like that. So what we need to do is give him some shape keys, and this is how we're actually going to move the parts of his face. So if you go out of edit mode, and then this little triangle thing here, it's called object data. Go into that, and there's a section called shape keys, and this is what we're going to be working with for a bit. So what you need to do is, in object mode with this guy selected, you need to add a new shape key, and this will automatically add one called basis. And never delete this one or change this one unless you actually want to change part of him, like the actual guy, not a shape key. And that's important to understand because you can severely screw things up if you change a part that you want to stay changed in a shape key. Okay, so I'm going to press tab with the basis shape key selected, and I'm going to select the lips that we made earlier and drag them down to the middle of his mouth, just because I like my basis to have the mouth closed, because usually we don't stand around with our mouths open. Okay. Okay, so once we have those down, just press tab, and now he will be standing there with his mouth closed. So we can add a new shape key, and let's call this one eyebrows up, down. And it's important to name them so that you know what they do. Hopefully that's self-explanatory. Okay, so now with the eyebrows up and down selected, if we go here where it says range, the maximum value is 1, so that we can move the slider all the way up to 1, but that'll make us be able to raise the eyebrows, and we want to lower them as well. So here where it says minimum, change that to -1, and just press enter. Now we can go either below 0 and above 0. So just keep that at 0. Actually, no, I lied. Take this down to -1, and then with the mesh selected, press tab. And since this is eyebrows up, down, we can do them both at the same time. So select all your eyebrows, just like this. Make sure that you have all the faces selected. Looks good. And now, basically what you do is hold control and just move them to a spot where you think they would be good looking. And I think that should do. I like it a little bit more cartoony so it goes down past his eyes. But it's all up to you. This is mostly a personal preference type tutorial thingy. I'm just showing you how to do it. So once you have them moved in the right spot with a value at -1, you can just tab out of that. And now if you test this out, here with the values, we are able to change the height of his eyebrows, and it's looking really great. So we can have them low like this. It's kind of cartoony looking, and I like it a lot. Or we can have them high like so. More surprise look. Okay, so just change this value back to 0. That's also important. If you're gonna make a new shape key and edit it, make sure that the values are all at 0 so that you don't mess anything up. So let's add another shape key, and let's do eyebrows rotation. That's gonna be good, and change the minimum value to -1. And this is gonna be like angry or sad or surprised, I guess. Angry and surprised. And again, you can add as many of these as you want. You can add like eyebrow left up down, eyebrow left rotation, so that you can have them all different. You can do whatever you want. This is just what I like to have in mind. So change that to -1, and then press tab. And for this we have to select individual eyebrows. So select one eyebrow, and then make sure you count the number of times you rotate it. So hold control 1, 2, 3, and then just do the same for the other one. Rotate, hold control 1, 2, 3. So that's going to give him a nice angry look. And if we just press tab, it's going to turn to surprised. But if we go like this, then it'll be back to angry. And so we can go angry with eyes down or eyes up. It's pretty neat. I was happy when I figured this out. Okay, so now we do the eyeballs. Eyes up, down, -1, value at -1, and select the eyes. From here on out it should be self-explanatory, but I'm gonna do this anyway. So we want them to be up. I like to do it too past because it gives them a nice good look. And that is, what is wrong with that? My eyes were all weird and whatnot, but they're better now. Okay, so that's gonna do that, and then if we press tab, it's, oh crap, I did that thing. But don't worry, see, what I did was I didn't go back to the basis because I wanted to fix the eyes. They weren't selected to the grid, and I didn't go back to the basis to edit it. So what this did is it makes it so that it's like this and his eyeballs come out of his head. And so I'm just going to delete the shape key and then go into basis and then edit it. And I'm going to select these to my grid. So that's what I mean by you can screw things up. And when I did it the first time, I had no idea what happened. So it can be kind of annoying. So I'm just okay, sorry. I almost had a heart attack there. Accidentally deleted the basis. But you can just control Z that. So I'm going to do this really quickly. Eyes up, down. this can be kind of tedious sometimes, especially when you have to do it every time that you want a new one, unless you have like the same mail or something. Then it'll be fine. So, up and down, make sure to change it back to 0. I mean, not 9, 0. Add a new one. Eyes left, right, and -1. Bring them like this. And then this is gonna look kind of weird because one of the eyes is gonna be actually in his face, but one of them's gonna be not quite in. So it's gonna look kind of cartoony, but I kind of like it actually. So if we tab that, we have the looking eyes, and you can go like all the way to one side and then make them look up or down. You can do whatever you want. So now we can do the mouth. I'm hoping this isn't gonna take too long. Sorry if I'm rushing. So let's add a new one for the mouth. We can call this mouth open and closed. And then have a -1. Actually, he doesn't need to be closed because his mouth is actually generically closed. So we don't need to make that -1. We can just leave that at 0. And then drag the slider up to 1, press tab, and then go to his mouth and just select one of these. If you get lucky, you select all the same side, but usually, as you can see, it usually doesn't happen. But that's easily fixable by just dragging them down like that. So then you just drag the mouth down like this so that it's all the way open. It's easy just to grab them and drag them down. Grab the faces and drag them down. Again, it can be kind of tedious at times, but I think it's worth it in the end. So if we press tab and do the slider, he opens and closes his mouth. And let's make a mouth wide knot, I guess. And then go to -1. Move down to -1. Actually, I'm not gonna do this. You can do this if you want to, but it's not really a necessary step. And it can kind of mess things up sometimes. Okay, so now let's do some teeth, and I'm just gonna do teeth open closed, and do -1, tab 0, and then select his tooth thingy. I guess it's teeth, but whatever. And that'll make him open and close his teeth. So, that is the basics of that anyway. You can add whatever you want. You can give him ears that wiggle if you want them to, or you can make his eyebrows come off. It doesn't matter. Whatever you want to do, you're able to do it with shape keys. Now, if we try to rotate his head, we run into a problem. We can see that if we rotate, that it does that and leaves all the pieces of his body right there. And I was extremely mad when I did this because I went through all the trouble of making the shape keys and then they didn't work, and I got really mad and raged for a bit. But I figured out that it's just like the armatures. You have to weight paint this to the armature. So if you select the mesh and object mode, change that to weight paint, and then select the head armature and then just move that up by pressing G and then holding control and moving it up. And then make sure that you are on the add brush, which we discussed in the previous tutorial, and then paint in all of the features that we just added to his face so that they move along with the head bone, and that will be beneficial so that he can actually have a face. Okay, so not looking too bad actually, I will admit. So one thing is good to just rotate it around and make sure that you have everything. You're not missing anything. And things are looking good. So go ahead and move the head back into place and get out of that mode. And just like that, you have created a perfectly working face rig, and it actually looks kind of normal. So I'm going to go make his eyes go to the left and up a bit. His eyebrows raised. Do whatever you want. And that's a good way to end our tutorial. Actually, we should show all the features of the rig by going like this. There. Sure, good enough. So you just made a perfectly working Steve rig with a face rig and everything, and it doesn't look stupid. Well, I guess that's in the eye of the beholder. So thank you for watching this tutorial series. I hope that you learned something. I hope that you try this so that you're not just continually asking for downloads on stuff. And it feels good to make your own things. So please comment, rate, and subscribe if you have any questions. And see you in another tutorial. Oh yes, leave your comments in the comment section on which tutorial you would like to see next. Like if you want blocks or mobs or something like that. So thanks for watching, and be sure to comment on those.